Good evening and welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 152. Each week we meet to answer the SEO questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have David Rozam. David is 30 years a copywriter, 10 of them as an SEO copywriter. You can find David at writingforseo.org. And William Jong is CEO of idisthost.nl in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin at idesthost.nl. And that's not favoritism, David. I figure people can figure out how to spell writing for SEO. Okay, and Masataki Wasa is a Google top contributor. He's also webmaster of wasaweb.net in the UK. He's also a top contributor on the AdSense forum and the Google Plus community. Through the week, people add their questions to the SEO Questions community on Google Plus. And then we gather here to answer them. Our first question tonight is from El Ray Resultan. El Ray has asked a number of questions of us recently. I'm really enjoying watching his progress. El Ray said, I used www.google.com.ph. And I used this search term, Tagaytay Tour Package 2015, in Google Philippines. And now I've optimized that keyword phrase for this page. And the page is www.philbooking.com /tours/Philippines /Cavite Tagaytay Day Tour Package. But in the search results, that one is the one that is ranking is this page, which is www.philbooking.com /tour packages /Philippines all tour packages. The summary page, I guess. He said the first URL is a tour package at a municipality in the Philippines, while the second one is all tour packages around the Philippines. Does anyone have any suggestions? Anybody with any ideas?
Well, I did check SEMrush for backlinks, but there's no data on for both URLs. That doesn't mean there are no links to both URLs. So it is more than just what you do on page. If people are linking with exact anchor text, that may be why one URL is ranking higher than the other one. But I cannot confirm that.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I don't think we're going to come up with a direct, a single answer. There's the page that you want to rank is deeper in the site than the one that is. So there could be an argument for saying that on that level it's not got as much leverage. You could have a look at your internal linking to make it clear that that is the place for Tagaytay Day Tour packages. 1080 tool packages 2015. Yes, sorry. You could also have a look at your content to see whether you've whether it's very clear that that's what what the page is about, or even if you've over-optimized it. I haven't looked at either at the moment, but you can certainly think if you've packed it with 1080 tour package 2015, it should it may be not ranking so well. The other question is, how long have these been up for? Is this a newer page? Is it best just to wait around a while and see if Google sorts itself out? This is a big site, and Google might not have made sense of all of it yet. I think you've got to either leave it aside and not worry about it at the moment, or start tweaking things. And I would look at the on-page optimization. I would certainly look at the internal links of the site, and I would make sure that the content on the all tour packages page is very different from the pages below it.
Yeah, the URL with all tour packages is much richer in content. And just comparing the two, if I would search, I would rather be on the all tour packages than on the day tour package. Maybe that's just my personal opinion, but these days we have to look at the quality of the content.
Yeah, so if you're looking specifically for that tour, then I suppose you want to land on that tour page rather than all tours. I suppose that's the argument. Would that be fair to say? Because that's the specific page for that particular tour.
Yeah. I think that it is fair to say. Just a small thing. I don't. Google doesn't hate tabs, but it can happen that content behind the tabs are not giving as much search value. Let me mute you, Rob. Oh, thank you. Where was I?
You were just about to book for your day tour package, weren't you? In the flip.
Oh yeah, the tabs. Content behind tabs may not give as much search value than content that is given straight up.
Yeah, there's not a lot of if you believe that the tabs aren't going to contribute greatly to the value of the page. There's not very much on here. So yes. So we'll look at the other one.
Okay. In this case, would it make sense in these kind of situations where you have things listed on one page as all tours, and then you have individual page for a particular tour? Would it make sense to use or mark up the page with main entity or page schema?
Yes, I'm not a great schema expert, but I think that I think on this kind of site, when there's an awful lot of information, then schema is probably a good idea. It will try and ferret out the the relevant bits, if you like, for Google.
Yep. Okay. Well, look, I see Hitendra has joined us. Thank you, and also God has put in an appearance. We've also got Dave. Thank you. I don't have a mute function on mine for some reason or other. They didn't give it to the host. Anyway, look, I must point out, by the way, guys, all of your answers were brilliant. But I must point out one of the longest answers I've seen placed on our SEO Questions community on Google+, and it can be seen there. And it's currently on my screen and so on. But Suraj Garage gave a great answer, which more or less confirmed what you guys had to say, but also added a little bit extra in here and there. Yes, if El Ray follows this one, I think he'd go very, very well. Did anybody else notice this question on the community? Anyway, El Ray said, wow, what a great response. I'll try these things and hope it works. El Ray, I'm fairly sure it will. All right, let's move on to the next. And look, welcome to the others that have joined us. I see Rob Mars, the AdWords aficionado for the Netherlands, is with us. Let's hope he's able to pop in at some point. Okay, our next question is from Nagaraj Gouda, and Nagaraj asks a question. He said, I'm having a website URL www.xyz.com, and I want to rank my website name, i.e. XYZ, to rank in the first position within 1 week. Is it possible? No. Please suggest me ways to achieve this. Somebody please to give.
Well, if this is a local company, verify your business on Google My Business. That will probably take longer than a week, but at least you have something at the top for your brand name and then maybe the city name or something like that. If that is position 1, who knows?
The other question is first position for what? Is Nagaraj asking for? Oh, I see XYZ as the brand. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I've now read it properly. Okay.
That's why I mentioned the brand name.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yes, I'm being stupid.
If you use the brand name and the city name, normally the website will pop up. And if you verify your Google My Business, at least on mobile search, I think you are on top, but on desktop search, it may be a little lower. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm also tempted to go down the usual question of why would you want to do so unless there's already a lot of search on your brand name and brand name recognition. And if so, I suspect someone may well have been working on it anyway. it's a bit general. There are perhaps ways to do it if your brand name is obscure enough. But
not in a week, though, surely.
no. Well, you could perhaps do some black hat stuff. But do you want to do some black hat stuff?
Mm-hmm.
There's normally someone who's come up with a way of putting up, getting stuff to the top in some odd way until Google sees everyone has found out about it. Everyone who likes doing that sort of thing has found out about it, and then they squash it. So.
All right. So have we covered this one?
As much as I want to.
I see Siraj has joined us, and we just had a little chat in the Hangout chat. And thanks again to Siraj for that brilliant answer on the community. All right, let's move on. Nagaraj Gouda, I hope that's the answer that you're looking for. Here's one from Dale Goodwin. He said, hi, I need help with an organic search result question. The search result below has links below rent a Baki, branches, and so on. It looks like ad extensions, but it's an organic result, so it can't be. I don't think it's site links, and they look very different. How do I add them to a search result on a site that I am optimizing?
Well, I think Suraj has said a lot here. I think that the key thing is that you don't add it to your site. You've got to help Google decide to do it for you. It's one of those things that Google does its thing, and we hope that we can persuade it to do so. But and you can probably persuade it to do so with some of these or all of these things that that Suraj has listed here.
Cool, Suraj. That's another top answer. Look, if you keep this up, we'll have to sack all the other blokes.
Yeah, Suraj can put up with you.
I think God is. Waiting to come in from you, Rob. No, we'll have to mute Rob. Can you do that? Sorry, Rob. Sorry about that, but we're getting a huge amount of feedback and no voice. All right. Any more on Dale Goodwin's answer, or do we leave it to David's answer and Siraj's answer in the community? All right. Well, I'm going to record that as a yes. Okay. Moving on to the next. This is one from Yogesh Dhawan. It's on the rank of keywords in different states. He said, "Hi guys, if I search for a keyword from different states, will the rank of that keyword be different or the same? For example, I am searching for red apples from Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Will the ranking be different or the same on desktop?"
Red apples. Well, that's quite general, but normally localization does influence search, and if you search on from different areas, you will get different results. That's just how search works these days. But with red apples, I'm not really sure if there's a huge difference. That's it, Jim.
It's not possible to search from a locality anonymously, is it?
No. If you try it with a couple of colleagues, probably someone has cookies. Even the IP is personalized. So even if you are incognito, you search, there's still you're still sending out your IP address, of course, which is getting personalized. So just only filtering out the localization thing, that I don't think that is possible.
I suspect that they will not be that different, red apples in 3 big Australian cities. Now, I'm just trying to think. Maybe if the maybe in different places, you know, radically different places, radically different geographical locations, where red apples may not be that popular. Would that make any difference?
Yeah, maybe there's a soccer team called Red Apples in Brisbane. I don't know. Right? Then that will pop up.
Getting all sorts of clanging going on here.
Yeah. We can expand by our own hangouts.
Okay. Also, I mean, anecdotally, people report getting different results from one desk to another, going out on the same keyword. And I'd say that, you know, Google's invested a lot of time and money to obfuscate the results without diminishing the user experience in a search. And so I question the value of establishing what's showing up, and whether it'll be the same tomorrow or with slightly different criteria, be a completely different result. I think time would be better spent elsewhere.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
And within the same session, you can get different results, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that you know, if we use SEMrush and track the positions using their position tracking tool, you know, you'll see daily variations on keyword positions. You get a nice little graph going up and down. You know, the granularity there is only a day, and it's from whatever IP address their installation is at. But the idea that when Google is constantly spidering the internet and constantly feeding the results through their algorithm, that things should be set in stone is fairly bizarre. We should expect that things should change, even over short periods of time. And there's the question of with Google search. In the past, people have talked a lot about being on different servers, different Google servers, and getting different results from different servers. I remember having a piece of software that allowed you to dial in different IP addresses of supposedly different Google servers to see whether you get different results. Things change, and I don't think it's something to be greatly worried about. So I think I'm coming down on Jim's side here. I think it's something not to get too hot under the collar about. Get lots of Apple key phrases up there, and I don't mean Apple, the much-loved technology company that all of the best SEOs on here use day in, day out. I mean the fruit.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Moving on, Yogesh. I hope you're happy with that. Moving along to our next, and it's a question from Suresh Kumar, who is suffering from troubles since Panda 4.2. Okay, Suresh said, "Good morning, people. Since the Panda 4.2 update, I've been in more trouble than ever. My website's index pages from 360 dropped off to 2 within a week, and the traffic level has gone down as well." He said, "I want to know the reason behind it. Helpful thoughts and suggestions are appreciated. I have to recover my website as soon as possible. Thank you. Help me, dumb SEO questions." Well, guys.
Do we have a live URL here?
Yeah, he did give that. It's www.dailyenews.com.
I mean that we're normally not very happy about having that on the site, are we?
No, but I couldn't complain because I was stupid enough to simply ask, "Hi Suresh, what is the URL?"
Okay.
So I sort of ended up with that one. If I'd used my brain, I would have phrased it properly.
Okay, we'll blame you.
Yeah, blame me.
Well, first, Panda is not will not de-index your site. De-indexing will only happen when you have a manual penalty. So if you don't see your site at all, you have to check the Search Console for a manual penalty.
Well, I noticed something using the site operator for dailyenews.com, and Suresh's homepage doesn't show up. And normally on a healthy site, am I right in saying that with a site operator query just for the domain only with no other keywords, the first entry should be your homepage.
Yeah, yeah. I'm searching for some content and his site doesn't come up. He's not completely de-indexed.
No.
It is a news aggregator, and the articles look as if they are spun from other sources. Would that be wrong?
It does. It does look as if a lot of this may well come from somewhere else, and therefore there is I guess there's a quality question here.
Yeah, and I think some of the images certainly will be protected by rights, and I think there may be issues with copyright and IP. And I see that it may have had AdSense, but there's no longer showing. I think there is a huge quality issue. I think
Yeah, I think there are multiple issues here. On the homepage, there's a heading called links, which look like they are bought. So they should have no follow, but they do follow. So I would check the Search Console for a manual penalty.
Yeah, and there's a lorem ipsum text as well. If I'm looking at the right site, but I think
I'm looking at daily EN.
Yeah,
news
with a Z.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it is Panda, because it is I think there are huge quality issues. But there are huge issues all around, I think.
Yeah, I think that is fair. Don't you agree, Jim?
Yeah, and Duraj is given his third good answer. He said, as part of this answer, he said, you can also determine a penalty simply by entering your domain name on Google and seeing whether your site ranks in the first page for that query. In this case, your website is ranking at position 4. He said, I'm sniffing something over here. I think that's the thing that's something being on the nose. It just seems to me that there's some sort of algorithmic penalty operating here.
Yeah, or a manual one. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a manual one.
Does he have Search Console?
For manual penalty, there will always be a notice in Webmaster Tools.
Yeah, no, I was wondering about that. So if he had received manual penalty, then he should see it in his Search Console.
Yeah.
And that could happen, but I think it could equally be the case that it is algorithmic for various reasons.
It could be algorithmic. Have you checked your traffic, your impression pattern during these updates and all? What was that pattern? That's the question. that needs.
But he is complaining about not being indexed, or some pages aren't being indexed. So that would suggest to me that it is a manual penalty, because Panda will not de-index. It will set the whole site lower, but it will not de-index.
Yeah. But either way, I'm not so sure it's possible to fix it, because I think the whole concept of the site is, if that makes sense. I think how it's been done, I think, inevitably leads to low quality, however quality may be defined, and whether that's manual or algorithmic. I think the site, how it's set up, what it purports to do, and how it does things, all these factors lend to low quality site. From personal
From a Google point of view, it looks like a site that Google will not like, I think is what you're saying, isn't it, sir? Without putting words in your mouth.
Yes, I think. And does it provide anything useful to the visitors? And I think, again, if the articles, as I suspect them to be, are sort of edited or spun from other sources, then you think you want to go, as a reader, you want to go to the original article, or to a more reliable publication from which the original story was taken. So to that extent, I think there are real issues with the site in question. And it is, I think, very difficult. I would even say impossible to fix, because the whole idea of creating a personal news site, news aggregator, by essentially taking images from other places, which I suspect has been the case here, and editing or spinning articles from other sources, I doubt that is a viable project.
No. I think I agree with you. Yes, I think I agree with you.
All right. So have we covered this one?
Unfortunately, I think we have.
Okay.
It's good news.
No, it's not good news for Suresh. I think he's got some work in front of him there. All right. Our next question is from Chase Rayner. Chase said it's a question titled keyword stuffing in title tags. Chase goes on to say, I'm seeing keyword stuffing in title tags work. For instance, I am Googling SEO New York from Santa Barbara, and the top result, www.onlysourceconsulting.com/services/SEO, they have way too much in their title tag. Also, another example is this guy, which is www.equinox@med.com, who is showing up #1 for most of the keywords he is targeting, and all of his titles are way too long. Any idea why this is working for them?
For it to come up. I'd like to comment. Oh, it's come up now. Okay, so come on. on. You say?
Well, I don't see it.
No, I don't see that either.
In the first 3 pages.
That's from I don't know if it's me, but this has to be one of the slowest sites on Earth. I don't think they're, from what I can see here, I don't think they're doing anything particularly bad with the title tags. I've only managed to have a look at 2 pages. The first one that comes up says NYC SEO experts hype New York search engine optimization. Okay, a bit spammy, but I've seen a whole lot worse. And I think the other thing is because someone has got away with it, and you found 1 or 2, or maybe even a lot of examples. It isn't best practice to spam any part of your page. So it's up to you. You know, if you want to take a sorry, oh thank you, the noise has gone. If you want to take the view that they've got away with it, you may well do. Fine, that's up to you. I believe in always trying to do what seems to be best practice, and best practice isn't spamming. So the question is why. Your question was why are they doing that? I think somewhere in your post. We don't know. It's just one of those things. Google doesn't get things right 100% of the time. I don't think you can get things right 80% of the time. But you know, this is part of that junk. Part of those junk results, I think. I think that's my thoughts. Don't get too het up about it. Go on and do your best. But don't look for shortcuts.
Yeah, I see. Blade S gave a great answer on the community there.
Oh, I should have read that, shouldn't I?
And he also offered a photo for a site which he thinks is keyword stuffing, but it doesn't seem overly stuffed to me either. His submission for the keyword stuffing Hall of Fame. I don't know, Dave.
That's well and truly stuffed myself. It's miles too long, and how many times does it say WordPress? And install?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would go along with that as being a... Well, it's not a Hall of Fame. I think all of us have possibly seen worse, but it's pretty horrific. And
probably done worse too, David.
It's probably what, sorry?
And we, or at least I should say I, have probably done worse.
I couldn't possibly comment.
We always do what we, we always advance to the point of mediocrity, don't we?
We do. That's the Peter principle, is it not?
Okay. All right. So have we covered Chase Reiner's answer? I'm guessing.
Yes, I think so. I think there's a general point and a specific point. The specific point is it ain't that bad, and the general point is just because they're getting away with it doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, look, here's one from Saurabh Rawat. It's number 7 on your run list, and for Suraj and Hitendra, I have put a URL in the chat, which has our run list on it. Okay, this one is blocking URLs in robots.txt. And he gives a URL which I won't try to read out, but it looks to be encoded. In fact, definitely is. %3C is a question mark. Yeah. All right. He said how to block these types of URLs. He said percentage based, but he means encoded in robots.txt. Federico Sasso gave a great answer. To block URLs having a percentage symbol in any part of the path, disallow star percentage. He said, but beware of friendly fire. Are you sure you aren't blocking too much? I'm a great fan of not blocking Googlebot at all. And over time, making sure that you give Googlebot clear paths to get to the content that you want, and over time make sure you're getting lots of crawling and don't spend your crawl budget before you've got the content indexed that you want indexed. But you really can't do it. I mean, blocking Googlebot doesn't save your crawl budget, because Googlebot will always go there to check that it's there. Even if you tell Googlebot not to crawl it, he'll still check that it's there. He just won't. Index it. Index the description of the page. If a URL exists, Googlebot will still include that URL in search, blocked or not, but they won't archive any results from it, just the actual URL because it exists. Does that make? Did I make sense with that?
Yeah. It is valuable information. If you scroll down, Jim, you see Dave Elliott answering. It's basically the encoded version for a break. So his guess is that it is probably an internal link that is malfunctioning. So what I will do is look where that link came from and fix it on the site.
Yeah, because it would return not found, right? Normally, because that doesn't really exist. It's not a parameter. Yeah. It's a page with brackets br / at the end of it, so it would be returning not found. So yeah, find out where that occurs and fix that.
Yeah. Great answer from Dave Elliott, as always.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I would say that at times it's required to block these URLs, so sometimes you create duplicated issues, depending on the site or context. So in case we want to get rid from them, okay, we can use the robots or TXT with the asterisk symbol, the way it's answered. The first answer is given. And another alternative to fix this issue is the use of canonical tag.
I'm sorry, I cannot understand you. Your mic is quite low.
What I have
Yeah.
mentioned, to fix this issue, there is another alternative apart from blocking this from robots.txt, and that is the use of canonical tag on the page. If he would be using the canonical tag on the actual URL, okay, so whatever the percent or the dynamic parameters that are rendering on the page, the actual canonical tag will be pointing to the URL only. So these kind of issues like blocking and all will not be required. Google will
I think
actual page, and these dynamic parameters will not be a concern.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think generally trying to blocking it by robots.txt is probably not the best idea in most circumstances.
Yep, totally agree too, Hitender. But I see Edwin just muted you again because we had a little bit of feedback. But feel free to unmute yourself if you like. Another option too is if you'd like to type anything into the chat, and if you start off with the word answer, I'll know that you want that read out on air, as opposed to quite often. And David Roseanne was a culprit for this. They'll write something and then I'm not allowed to put on there. And so just by putting answer at the start, I'll get a clue that you want it read out. And that'll help us get around this bandwidth issue, because I think there is a bandwidth issue there causing that feedback. No, you're not audible at the moment, Hitender, because you're muted, but you can unmute yourself at any time. Just click the red button at the top of your screen, the red mic. Try again, no, we'll wait on you. No? Okay. All right. Let's move on. We actually don't have a lot of questions this week. Last week we had a lot of questions. This week not so many. Here's a question from another one from Chase Rayner, and he said it's a question titled "The Importance of Relevant Keywords in a URL." And he said, does anyone know how important it is to have relevant keywords in a URL? He said, I've been SEOing a site and its titles aren't changing in Google search, even though I've changed the titles in SEO by Yoast. I'm thinking perhaps it's because the URLs still say things like domain/our-clinic, and the site is, and thank you for writing it this way, Chase. The site is puretyclinic.com. Purity. It should be. I mean, if it's a misspelling, of course. If it was purity, it would be I, not E. Anyway. All right, answers in the community through the week. A good answer from Federico Sasso, who's a community stalwart. All right, anybody going to give me a contribution on this one? You're muted, David Roseanne.
Sorry about that. I thought I'd unmuted myself. Shall I start again? I think it's a content problem. There basically isn't any when you come to the site. You've got to burrow way down before you find anything. And I don't like that kind of thing. It means as a user, I have to go, oh, there's a menu. There's all these strange hamburger menus. And then I think, oh, our services, that's probably what I need. And I click on our services, and I just get another link. Oh, no, it does actually roll out. Okay. This is, yeah, it's an old-fashioned splash page as a home page, really, isn't it? And I think this has to be approached from the point of view of, am I going to get the information I want from this site if I come here? Let's have a look at some of the content on the individual pages. We're now 2 clicks down. Let's do read more on this. We get another list of things at the top, and then eventually it scrolls down. I suspect there might be a site speed problem. Google seems to be getting more picky about things happening quickly with the page. Anyway, there's a nice volume of content when we get there. I'm ready yet, but you know, they've written a fair amount. I don't know how good it is, and I don't know whether it is using the key phrases they want to rank for. Let's have a read. Perhaps someone else will talk while I have a read.
Anybody else? Well, look, I'm no expert, but on a personal basis, I'm a fan of keywords in URLs, and not so much for Googlebot, but for my users to be able to look at the address bar and get an idea of where they are and what they're looking for. I'm not suggesting that you try and set a record for the longest URL, and if anything, drop a keyword, providing you're close to being offering clarity. But I can't disagree with Federico Sasso and Aaron Clayler, who said that it's not a big deal these days to have keyword-rich URLs. However, I am a fan because they're useful. They look right, and not because I'm old and stupid that I use the address bar to navigate. It's hard to change your habits. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's having read the copy. We've got personalised medicine in the URL. That's the end of the URL. There is nothing here in the copy to reflect that this is about personalised medicine. It's about functional medicine and holistic primary care. So if the URL has been set up with personalised medicine, with the idea that it will rank for personalised medicine, it won't. It needs to be about how they personalise the medicine for you, your treatment. It needs to be very clearly about personalised medicine. I don't know whether personalised medicine is about functional medicine, but if I was coming to this page looking for something about personalised medicine, there wouldn't be anything here to satisfy me. So if the if whoever Chase is changing these, is thinking about, or is changing the URLs, or at least the end of the URLs, the page part of the URL, expecting that to be more powerful than the content on the page, it won't work. You've got to have a look at your content and make sure that it does what you want it to do. You know, you feel that people are looking for personalized medicine. You have to, with your content, explain why, how the treatment here is personalized, and the benefits of personalizing it. Santa Barbara Functional Medicine does not answer that. This needs to be on a functional medicine page, if you like, or you need to write personalized medicine on a different page with another chunk of copy. You need to be very clear about what your site is about and what each page is trying to do. And I'm a great fan of thinking that one page has one big idea on it, and that's it. So something like holistic primary care, functional medicine, and personalized medicine seem like big ideas to me without understanding too much about Purity Family Medical Clinic. They should be on separate pages, and you should very clearly talk about that one theme, and that one theme should be reflected in your title tag, your URL, and your description tag, and anything else that you are using for your SEO purposes, without going and spamming, of course. I think it's a bigger job, or at least a more generalized job, throughout the site than just tweaking bits. There's no magic bullet with any of this stuff. You need to be consistent throughout the site.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? All right, let's go to the next. Here's one from Hunter and Hine, attorneys at law. It's a question titled SEO and Scalability. It sounds interesting. It's a group, we are searching for a new hosting company for our website. Being a newbie with limited resources, I chose GoDaddy Website Builder when initially creating our site. As the site has grown and as I learn more about SEO, I am realizing that Website Builder has significant limitations when it comes to SEO and scalability, not to mention crawlability, availability, and many other abilities that GoDaddy failed to provide. He said, I'm also facing the inability to migrate my current site from GoDaddy Website Builder due to limitations with Website Builder. So I'm looking at have to build the new site from scratch. Look, I just want to interject there in case I forget and in case nobody else notices, but there's no need to rebuild from scratch. If you have access to your GoDaddy cPanel, your site can easily be moved to another host. Anyway, he goes on to say, my goal is to create a large website starting at around 80 pages, but growing by 2 or so pages a week indefinitely, and including a massive amount of content. I also don't write code, so something that is user-friendly from the creator standpoint, but not something that I won't be able to migrate down the road like Website Builder. What new hosting company do you guys recommend I look into?
Yeah, I think there's another issue here, isn't there? There's there's yes, you can pick it up and pop it on another host and change your DNS stuff and do that. Or there's the second paragraph which says that he wants to create a large website and grow it with a massive amount of content. It seems to me that if this is a newbie, the perhaps hackneyed old answer of saying put it on WordPress comes to mind straight away. WordPress, because it does lots of things. It's cheap, as in it's free. There are loads and loads of people out there who know it, so you can get support or technical help very well. Shall we say cheaply? Shall we say less than something more specialised? I think my answer would be to think strongly about putting it onto WordPress. You can get lots of advice. There are plugins to help with SEO, etc., etc. Where you put it, I noticed someone here said HostGator because of personal experience. I've got two answers through personal experience. I've been hosting WordPress sites on a small orange.com for 10 years. I've been there for 10 years because they've been very good and they are pretty cheap. And they've got the best technical support from that sort of, from their sort of priced host that I've come across. I've put several noobs on there or recommended it to them, and they've been quite surprised that they've had the support that they've had from Small Orange. The other one, if you want to hit it with a serious hammer, is to go to WP Engine, and WP Engine is a completely different kettle of fish. It's effectively outsourcing your technical side of hosting your website to them. You pay far more for it, but they are great. I'm very, very happy with the $29 a month I pay for my main site there. And yeah, their support is even better. So I would say think about going on to WordPress, and those are my two. These are my two recommendations for hosting.
Thank you, David. Look, I have to interrupt and say I misspoke before. I misunderstood. I thought that Hunter and Hein, attorneys at law, were referring to a WordPress site built with a wizard rather than a site built with a site builder type. So yeah, I was wrong, and apologise for that. Siraj, if you look in the community, gave another great answer, and Hunter and Hein have copied it into a Word document for future reference, and they probably could not do any better than that. It is a good answer and useful as well. Any other comments? I can see somebody is trying to jump in on me. No, I must have been mistaken. All right. Look, as far as hosting goes, I don't like HostGator, but I hate GoDaddy with a passion. but yeah, the trouble with these big companies that they look cheap, but by the time they get nickel and diming people for this little feature and this little feature, and yeah, it's yeah, for Hunter and Hine, tendency law, if you don't want to get into the mechanics, if you don't want to get into the coding, you know, options like a dedicated server aren't available to you. And to my mind, I'd be looking at WordPress forums and communities like SEO Questions to you know, look for advice there. But a specialist WordPress operator, these days you really need a specialist WordPress operator because WordPress is so vulnerable. And it's because it's so ubiquitous that it's such an easy target for hacks. You know, because it's possible. The WordPress base code is good and strong, but WordPress is built on plugins and themes. And if someone creates a weak theme or a weak plugin, the site will fail easily, regardless of the goodness of the WordPress coding. So yes, you really need to get in with a specialist host. I mean, if you were in Australia, because you're in the US, I wouldn't recommend hosting anywhere else but in the US. But if you were in Australia, I would recommend somebody here in Brisbane who operates at a high end with WordPress. If you can understand what I mean by that. Yeah, it's just a matter of looking around. Go ahead, whoever was speaking.
I agree with you, Jim. You've more or less filled in the gaps of what I was saying. You know, WP Engine has been great for me. If I put a plugin in my site that has a problem, I will probably find that it won't even install. I'm not quite sure. I've never tried that, but certainly, if a problem comes up, there's an exploit in, you know, say Yoast SEO for argument's sake. I'm not saying there is one currently, but say there is one. I'll get an email that says there's a problem with this. It needs upgrading now. There's also a list, they maintain a list of vulnerable plugins with a list of alternatives. So if I can't use this one, their recommendation is that one. When they upgrade your WordPress, they check to see whether it's working or not before they leave it live on the site. If there's any problem, they'll go back and send you an email that says, if you go up to the latest WordPress, you've got to fix these problems. There's, you know, I personally, I think it's worth it. And my basic rule is, if the site is making money for me, then it needs to be on something more than vanilla shared hosting.
Since he is in the US, I would go for a US host. And there is this great site called convergentmedia.co from Alistair Latimore, and he's hosting at webfaction.com. If it's that easy, I don't know. I've been looking around on the site. They're not using cPanel. They have their own version. But it is only $9.50 a month. So.
Yes, actually, I remember when Alistair moved to them, he was very impressed.
Yeah, he was very pleased with them. But of course,
Well,
if you
they
don't
got-
want to do any codes, I would hire someone and do that for you. Right,
Yeah.
if you don't know what an FTP is, they do have a one-click WordPress install, but like you already said, Jim, you need to make that a little bit more safe. So hire someone.
Yeah, there are some pretty good WordPress security plugins that will do quite a lot in terms of blocking hacks and IP addresses and so on and so forth. But whether you want to get caught up in doing that, this is where going to a specialist host that does all the does all the security stuff for you will save you a lot of will potentially save you a lot of problems.
Well, webfaction.com is not a specialized WordPress, as far as I understand. Well, Anderson was very, very happy with them. So.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on, Jim?
Well, look, Siraj just put a big note in the chat.
I see.
Just going through it. Look, the other thing I'd point out is that and I just want to highlight what David said about getting somebody. I mean, WordPress is a double-edged sword. You're getting great coding for free because it is has such a huge support network of people providing themes. For what you get, it's very cheap. But because the structure is known, because it's pretty well ubiquitous, it's worth people's while to code exploits for WordPress. But I mean, David said yes, there are plugins for security for WordPress. But look, I'd like to give you an example of something I noticed only this week. I haven't seen it before, but as you know, there's a current popular exploit using brute force attacks on WordPress, where they will hit the server with 2 or 3 requests a second until they manage to fluke a weak password and control of that server. Now, there are plugins like WordFence which will monitor usage of the WP login and will exclude bad actors. But of course, they've got to allow the bad actors at least 1 or 2 tries. Otherwise, they'll end up blocking the administrators from getting into their own site. But so in that case, a plugin like WordFence does work. But I looked at one this week where a site was being hammered 2 or 3 requests a second, but not from the same IP address. They were being hit from about 20,000 different IPs. Now, I say 20,000 because I measured the length of the lines in the log file, and it gave me about 21,000 lines of these requests. And all of the IP, now there may have been some repeated, but in general terms, I didn't see one repeated. but there may well have been inside that 20,000. I didn't check them all, but that's a distributed brute force attack, and so you know, blocking the IP address, they just make their 2 or 3 requests and go away. Those IPs will not get blocked then, so WordPress is hoisted its own petard in that it's brilliant and it's popular, but because it's popular, people can code these enormously complex methods to breach it, because it is profitable to do so, because they can amortize that across all of the sites that they're going to hack and make money from. So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Seriously, and look, I promote WordPress sites to my clients where I don't see them needing a high-powered site, but the sites that our clients who are turning millions of dollars in revenue a year, they're not on WordPress sites. They're on a custom CMS, and if you want serious traffic, you really there's only one way to go, and that's certainly not WordPress. But for Hunter and Hein, in the way that you're going, and I don't want to be disparaging, but in the way that you're going, WordPress is probably the best thing for you, but do find somebody that knows WordPress and will do their best to protect you.
Keep it up to date is the top piece of information for anyone. The top piece. Yes, absolutely. I would say keep the thing up to date. The WordPress sites I've seen hacked have always been out of date. I must touch wood. I haven't seen personally, I haven't seen a WordPress site hacked that was up to date. I think that it may well be that as there's a war of attrition going on, that we may get into that situation. But certainly, personally, I haven't seen up to date site got into.
Yeah. All right. So have we covered this for Hunter and Hein?
I think we've done it at length, have we not?
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Let's go on to the next. And no, it's not the next. Yet again, we've covered the questions asked this week on the SEO Questions community on Google+. And now we move on to our weekly news roundup, where we add items of interest through the week to the SEO news community on Google+. And once we've answered our questions each week, we convene here to answer them. Or not answer them, speak about them. This one is about a tool to fight Google Analytics spam from Jeremy Rivera, who used to be from Raven Tools and is now not. But if he's right, and he says, finally, a tool to fight Google Analytics spam. I haven't tried it yet, but he refers to it as the death of referral spam, and if he's right, it's a great thing. Has anybody tried it?
No. Basically, it is an article featuring GA spamfighter.com. GA Spamfight is basically a list of spam sites that will give you referral traffic in your Google Analytics, though it is not referral traffic. It is spam.
So it's reliant on a list of sites.
Yeah, yeah. Just looking at it, it basically filters out those referral spam sites from Google Analytics. I'm not really a huge fan of blacklist, because this basically blacklisting, because it's endless, right? It's not it's not 100%, and there is also the chance that there are false positives in there. So. That's my point of view. I'm not a fan of blacklists.
Yeah, but if they had a means of auto-updating it, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how. Because you want to crowdsource it, right? A little bit like spam assessing.
Well, it's not unlike the RBLs that people use for email spam.
Yeah.
You have an enthusiast who would keep a list, and people could download it.
But I have to play with it. So, did you, Jim?
No, mate. I've had a really busy time. Gardening. Anybody else? All right. Moving on to the next item of news in the SEO news community. Seems to have a bit of a glitch on SEOquestions.com. A big glitch. Let me go back. All right, so we will go forward and forward again. We must have something wrong with that entry there. We'll have to skip it, and let's try go forward again. The joys of software. No, here we are. Here we are. We got something going, and I'll try and go back to the other one in a moment. And this one was posted by Edwin Yonk, and you know the drill, Edwin. You posted, you talk about it. All right. He said Pedro Diaz, our good friend who has joined us on occasion. He is a well-known, reputable SEO in Brazil. He said Pedro Diaz has a computer, a keyboard, and internet connection, and he is dating something about SEO. And he said that there's only so much you can achieve by sticking strictly to technical SEO, chasing algorithms and correlations. When you ignore the potential of a holistic approach, you're leaving most of the potential on the table. And to me, it sounds like he is replying to, and Edwin, it gives a URL to a post he made, which can be seen on the SEO news community on Google+.
Yeah, that links point to the next news article, which is about click-through rate. If the click-through rate is a ranking factor. Pedro is basically replying to that. Last month there was a little bit of a discussion between SEOs if click-through rate is a ranking factor, Moss did a blog post about it and tried to crowdsource it. Here's another, the next question has another article where they basically say no, there's no correlation. So that was a little bit of the discussion. There's also a patent from Google showing click-through rate as a ranking factor. But for me, it's just too easy to manipulate. So I don't think Google is using it.
Okay, I'm sorry about that undefined showing on the screen. I'm just rebooting the server which runs dumbseoquestions.com. Struggling a bit. Somebody say something to save my life.
Oh, okay. And Pedro Diaz really thinks it is a stupid debate. Quote, most marketers like drama, gossip, and conspiracy theories. We like to paint doomsday scenarios. Bigger than Panda, bigger than Penguin. Your imagination is the limit. But I believe that what we like to do most is to predict and to do guesswork correlation. This that in hopes we can later prove how right we are. So. Another quote, most of the speculation in the SEO world ends up being consumed by uninformed people that awesome stuff, you know, and then as you, me. I had some fun reading it. Did anybody else read it?
No, I'm afraid not. If I had read it, I might be able to fill in this bit of on-air silence that we have at the moment. As I didn't, I have to fill it in by talking about the fact that I didn't, and I don't have anything to say, really.
Do you have jokes still, or?
Dead air is what they call it in broadcast, isn't it? I believe.
All right, we've got our server back on track again. Let's move on to the next question, which was, is click-through ratio a ranking factor in organic results? I didn't hear before. We haven't discussed this while I was otherwise engaged, Edwin.
I think so, Martin.
Well, we did discuss it or didn't?
We somewhat discussed it.
Yes, it was part of the last post, he says, picking up his trumpet.
Okay. All right, so we don't need to discuss click-through ratio?
No. Basically, there is no such thing as that click-through rate is a ranking factor.
Okay. May have to edit the queue times on item 9, 10, and 11. If
I will do that tonight, Jim. Don't worry.
Thank you. we're at that time of the night where we say thank you for watching. And if you are watching this at a later time as well, we thank you for your interest. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile, and for that we thank you very much. We'll be back at the same time